The awakening. The quantum resonance chamber hummed with an otherworldly frequency as Commander Sarah Chen stood before the holographic display, her dark eyes fixed on the repeating pattern that had captured humanity's attention. After 15 years of searching the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, they'd found something. But it wasn't what anyone had expected. "Run the analysis again, Dr. Walker," she ordered, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. The Odyssey's science officer nodded, his fingers dancing across the quantum interface. The massive starship, humanity's most advanced vessel, hung in high orbit above Europa, where they'd first detected the signal. "Same result," Commander Walker reported, pushing his glasses up his nose. "The signal's embedded in quantum frequencies we didn't even know existed until 6 months ago. Whatever sent this, they're far beyond us." Sarah stepped closer to the display, watching the intricate dance of light and energy that represented the alien transmission. The Odyssey's quantum computing core had spent weeks decoding just a fraction of its contents, but what they'd found was staggering. It wasn't just a message, it was a warning. "Captain to the bridge," the ship's AI announced suddenly. "Unknown object approaching at FTL velocities." Sarah's heart raced as she sprinted through the pristine corridors of the Odyssey. The bridge crew snapped to attention as she entered, their faces illuminated by the soft blue glow of their stations. Through the panoramic viewport, Jupiter's massive form dominated the view, Europa a tiny jewel beside it. "Report," she barked, sliding into her command chair. Lieutenant Maya Patel, their sensor specialist, responded without taking her eyes off her displays. "Object just dropped out of FTL, Commander. It's beautiful." A ship emerged from the darkness of space, unlike anything humanity had ever conceived. It seemed to flow like liquid metal, its surface rippling with patterns of light that defied physics. It was massive, easily 3 times the size of the Odyssey, yet it moved with impossible grace. "They're broadcasting," Communications Officer Jack Torres announced, his voice tight with tension. It's in English." Sarah leaned forward in her chair. "Put it through." The voice filled the bridge, melodic and otherworldly yet perfectly understandable. "Vessel of Earth, I am Sentinel Xareth of the Satani. We receive your quantum echoes across the void. We came as soon as we could." Sarah exchanged glances with her crew before responding. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Odyssey. We've been studying a signal." "The ancient warning," Sareth interrupted. "Yes, you should not have found it so soon. Your species has advanced more quickly than any we have encountered. That is both impressive and deeply concerning." The alien's words sent a chill down Sarah's spine. "Concerning? Why?" There was a pause, heavy with unspoken implications. "Commander Chen, your quantum technology creates ripples in space-time that can be detected across vast distances. You have inadvertently announced your presence to forces that have hunted civilizations like yours for millions of years." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had spent centuries dreaming of first contact, imagining all the possibilities. No one had considered that their technological achievements might serve as a beacon for something hostile. "What forces?" Sarah asked, though part of her dreaded the answer. "We call them the Void Hunters," Sareth replied. "They seek out civilizations that reach a certain technological threshold and consume them. Their true nature is unknown, but they leave nothing behind. We Satani have spent millennia helping younger species avoid their attention. But your people, you achieved in decades what takes most species centuries." Dr. Walker stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overtaking his caution. "Our quantum breakthrough, the resonance technology, that's what attracted them." "Yes," the alien confirmed, "and they are already coming. We detected their probe ships at the edges of your solar system. You have perhaps 3 of your Earth months before they arrive in force." Sarah felt the weight of command settle heavily on her shoulders. In a few minutes, everything had changed. Humanity wasn't alone in the universe, but their first contact came with news of an imminent threat to their very existence. "What are our options?" she asked, heaping her voice level for her crew's sake. "We can help you prepare," Sarith offered. "The Satani have extensive experience in defending against the Void Hunters. But I must warn you, most species choose to hide, to abandon their quantum technology and retreat to primitive existence until the hunters pass. Something tells me your people would not accept such a solution." Sarah stood, facing the viewport where the alien vessel shimmered like a living thing against the stars. "You're right about that. Humanity doesn't go backwards, and we don't hide. If these Void Hunters want to threaten our existence, they'll learn that humans don't take kindly to bullies, no matter how advanced they might be." A sound emerged from the alien communication channel that might have been laughter. "Your confidence is remarkable, Commander Chen. Perhaps that is why your species has advanced so quickly. Very well. With your permission, I will dock with your vessel. There is much to discuss, and very little time." As the alien ship gracefully maneuvered alongside the Odyssey, Sarah turned to her crew. Their faces showed a mixture of fear, excitement, and determination. Humanity had just taken its first steps into a larger, more dangerous universe than they'd imagined. But if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was facing impossible odds and finding a way to prevail. "Send word to Earth Command," she ordered. Tell them everything is about to change. And we're going to need every brilliant mind and brave soul humanity can muster. The galaxy just got a lot bigger, and we've got 3 months to prove we deserve our place in it." As the docking procedures began, Sarah watched the alien ship's mesmerizing patterns and thought about the countless generations of humans who had looked up at the stars and dreamed of this moment. First contact had finally arrived, but it came with a price: the need to fight for their very existence. Somehow, that seemed fitting. Humanity had never gained anything worthwhile without a struggle. The quantum resonance chamber's hum changed pitch as the alien ship connected with the Odyssey, and Sarah straightened her uniform. It was time to meet their new allies and begin planning humanity's greatest challenge yet. The next 3 months would determine not just their fate, but their species' place in the cosmic order. And Sarah Chen intended to make sure that place was earned through the qualities that had brought humanity this far: ingenuity, determination, and the unwavering refusal to accept defeat. The Alliance. The Satani ship's interior defied human expectations. Instead of the sterile, mechanical environment Sarah had anticipated, she found herself walking through corridors that seemed alive, their walls pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that responded to movement. Sentinel Xareth glided beside her, their crystalline form catching and refracting light in mesmerizing ways. "Your ship's quantum core," Sareth observed, their voice resonating through the air rather than coming from any visible mouth. "It's remarkably efficient for such young technology. We've never seen anyone achieve quantum coherence using your methods." Dr. Walker, who'd joined the diplomatic party, couldn't contain his excitement. "We found that by introducing a controlled chaos factor into the quantum field, we could actually stabilize longer coherence times. It was counterintuitive, but that's exactly how humans solve problems." Sarah finished, noting the subtle shifts in Xareth's crystalline structure that suggested interest. "We don't just think outside the box. We question why there needs to be a box at all." The Satani's form flickered with what Sarah was learning to recognize as amusement. "Perhaps that is why the Void Hunters are so drawn to your signal. You're not just advancing quickly, you're advancing differently. They consume technology, yes, but they're particularly attracted to innovation." They entered what appeared to be a command center, though it bore little resemblance to the Odyssey's bridge. 3-dimensional holograms filled the air, showing real-time data from across the solar system. Red dots marked the positions of the approaching Void Hunter probe ships. "We've detected 7 probe ships so far," Sareth indicated, manipulating the display with graceful movements. "Each one is capable of destroying a small moon. Their main fleet will be far worse." Lieutenant Patel, who'd been quiet until now, stepped forward to study the tactical display. These energy readings, they're not using any form of propulsion we recognize. It's like they're pulling themselves through space by manipulating gravity itself. Correct? Sarith confirmed. The Void Hunters don't just consume technology. They absorb its fundamental principles. They've devoured thousands of civilizations, each with their own unique approaches to physics and engineering. They are living archives of stolen knowledge. Sarah watched the probe ship's movements, her tactical mind already working. But they can't have prepared for everything. No matter how many civilizations they've consumed, they can't anticipate every possible strategy. An interesting observation. Zareth's form pulsed with what might have been approval. What are you thinking, Commander Chen? You said they're attracted to innovation. What if we use that against them? Make our quantum signature even more unique, more enticing. Draw them in exactly where we want them. Dr. Walker's eyes widened. Commander, are you suggesting we make ourselves an even bigger target? I'm suggesting we use their hunger against them. Sarah replied, her mind racing with possibilities. The Void Hunters expect civilizations to either hide or fight conventionally. What if we do neither? Over the next hours, the unlikely alliance between humans and Satani began to take shape. The Odyssey's crew worked alongside their alien counterparts, combining Earth's unconventional quantum mechanics with Satani's millions of years of accumulated knowledge. The result was something entirely new. It's beautiful, Dr. Walker breathed, watching the test results of their combined technology. By integrating our chaos-based quantum architecture with your crystalline computing, we've created something that shouldn't even be possible. The prototype defense system they developed didn't just shield against attacks. It absorbed energy and redirected it through quantum channels, growing stronger with each hit. It was exactly the kind of innovation that would draw the Void Hunters' attention. But they weren't done yet. As word spread back to Earth, the planet's greatest minds mobilized. Quantum laboratories worldwide began coordinating their efforts, sharing data with the Satani, and pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. Your species continues to surprise us, Stareth commented, watching the stream of innovations flowing in from Earth. Most civilizations, when faced with such a threat, become paralyzed with fear. Humans seem to become more creative under pressure. Sarah nodded, remembering her history. We've always been at our best when our backs are against the wall. It's not just about survival. It's about proving we can overcome any challenge. The first test of their combined capabilities came sooner than expected. One of the Void Hunter probe ships, perhaps detecting their experimental quantum signatures, broke formation and accelerated toward Earth. Multiple exotic particle emissions detected. Lieutenant Puddle reported, her fingers flying over her console. They're scanning us. No, they're trying to interface with our quantum systems. Just as we predicted, Sarah said firmly. Deploy the quantum lure. The trap they'd prepared sprang into action. Instead of fighting against the Void Hunters' intrusion, they welcomed it, drawing it into a carefully constructed quantum maze. The probe ship's attempts to absorb their technology led it straight into a cascade of chaos-induced quantum collapse. The result was spectacular. The probe ship, unable to process the deliberately unstable quantum patterns, began to lose coherence. Its sleek, dark form twisted in space, its own absorbed technologies turning against it as the chaos spread through its systems. Energy spike, Walker called out. It's attempting to purge its quantum core. But it was too late. The probe ship imploded, torn apart by the very forces it had tried to steal. In its place, a shower of crystalline fragments sparkled against the backdrop of space, the remains of countless absorbed technologies, finally released from their prison. The bridge crew of the Odyssey stared in stunned silence at their first victory. They had just proven that humanity, despite its youth among the stars, could stand against even the most ancient of threats. An impressive strategy, Sarith observed, their crystalline form rippling with what might have been pride. Using their own hunger for innovation as a weapon, we would never have conceived of such an approach. Sarah watched the drifting debris of the probe ship, knowing this was just the beginning. That was one probe ship. The real test will come when their main fleet arrives. Indeed, the Setani agreed. But you have proven something crucial. The Void Hunters can be defeated. In all our history of helping species hide from them, we never considered the possibility of actually fighting back. Perhaps that is why we were drawn to your quantum signal. Perhaps humanity is exactly what this galaxy needs. As they began preparing for the larger battle to come, Sarah reflected on how quickly everything had changed. 2 days ago, humanity had been alone in the universe. Now they were preparing to fight for their very existence alongside crystalline aliens against a force that had terrorized the galaxy for millions of years. But they had already proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't just their technology or their determination. It was their ability to think differently, to find solutions where others saw only problems. The Void Hunters had spent millions of years consuming the knowledge of countless civilizations, but they were about to encounter something they'd never faced before: human ingenuity. The Crucible. The holographic star map aboard the Odyssey showed dozens of small points of light, each representing a civilization that had been hiding from the Void Hunters. Sarah Chen stood before the display, watching as Kareth added another location to the growing network. The meridians, the Setani explained, indicating a binary star system near the galactic core. They achieved quantum technology 3 centuries ago, then disappeared when the Hunters came. They've been surviving in underground cities ever since, their technology reduced to pre-industrial levels. And they're willing to fight? Sarah asked, noting the strategic position of their system. They are curious. Xareth's crystalline form rippled with what she now recognized as uncertainty. Word of your victory over the probe ship has spread. Many species are beginning to question their strategy of hiding. The past week had been a whirlwind of diplomatic activity. The Odyssey, now equipped with Setani long-range communications technology, had been reaching out to these hidden civilizations. Each contact revealed new potential allies, but also new complications. Lieutenant Taurus's voice cut through her thoughts. Commander, incoming transmission from the Auroran delegation. The holoprojector shifted, displaying a being of pure energy contained within an elaborate mechanical shell. Ambassador Cliff of the Aurorans had been one of the first to respond to their call for alliance. Commander Chen, the energy being's voice resonated through the bridge. We have reviewed your proposed strategy. It is unprecedented. To deliberately attract the Hunters rather than hide from them. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense, Sarah replied, using an old Earth saying that had required considerable explanation to their alien allies. The Hunters expect fear, submission, or at best, conventional resistance. We're offering something different. Yes, Cliff's energy form pulsed with what might have been excitement. Your species' approach to quantum mechanics alone proves that. We've been monitoring your global network. Your scientists have made more breakthroughs in the past week than most species achieve in decades. It was true. Earth had mobilized like never before. The imminent threat of the Void Hunters had united humanity in ways no earthly crisis ever had. Research facilities worldwide were collaborating, sharing discoveries and building upon each other's innovations. Dr. Walker appeared at Sarah's side, his tablet displaying the latest data from Earth. The quantum defense grid is at 60% coverage. We've integrated Auroran energy manipulation techniques with our chaos theory algorithms. The results are, well, there's something even the Hunters won't expect. The meeting was interrupted by a sudden alarm. Lieutenant Patel's hands flew across her console. Multiple quantum distortions detected. They're everywhere. The star map erupted with new signals. The Void Hunters' main fleet had arrived, and they hadn't come alone. Dozens of massive ships dropped out of FTL, their dark forms blotting out the stars. They detected our preparations, Farith observed, their crystalline form dimming slightly. They've committed more ships than we've ever seen them use against a single civilization. Sarah's jaw tightened, because they know we're different. We're not just prey. We're a threat. The next hours were chaos. The Void Hunters struck simultaneously at multiple points across the solar system, testing Earth's defenses. The quantum grid, though incomplete, responded exactly as designed, absorbing their energy attacks and growing stronger. But the Hunters were ancient and cunning. They quickly adapted, changing tactics faster than any organic mind could follow. One of their ships, massive and darker than the Void itself, broke through the defensive line near Mars. "Breach in Sector 7, Patel called out. "They've found a resonance pattern we didn't account for." Sarah watched as the massive ship bore down on Earth, its surface rippling with stolen technologies from 1,000 dead civilizations. This was the moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. "Implement Protocol Omega," she ordered, her voice steady despite the stakes. "And get me a channel to all our allies." The quantum communications network lit up, connecting them to every species that had joined their alliance. Sarah took a deep breath, knowing her next words would either unite them or leave Earth to face the Hunters alone. "To all allied species, this is Commander Chen. The Void Hunters have breached our primary defense line. They think this is the moment we'll break. The moment we'll do what every other civilization has done and retreat into hiding. They're wrong." She paused, watching as the massive Hunter ship entered Earth's orbit. For millions of years, these beings have preyed upon innovation, forcing species to abandon their dreams of advancement. But today, we show them something new. Today, we show them that the spirit of discovery cannot be extinguished by fear. Across the communications network, representatives of various species watched and listened. The Aurorans, the Meridians, even species that had been hiding for millennia. "Earth is activating its secondary defense grid now," Sarah continued. "But we need your help. Each of your species has faced the Hunters. Each of you has lost something to them. Together, we can show them that the galaxy's future doesn't belong to those who destroy innovation. It belongs to those who dare to create." One by one, the alien representatives responded. Ships appeared from hyperspace, Auroran energy vessels, Meridian stealth cruisers, and dozens of others. Species that had hidden for centuries emerged to make their stand. The Void Hunter ship, detecting the sudden surge of activity, paused in its approach to Earth. For the first time in its ancient existence, it faced something unprecedented, a unified response from its would-be victims. Sarah allowed herself a small smile as she gave her final order. "All ships, execute coordinated attack pattern Delta. Show them what happens when the hunted decide to hunt back." The battle that followed would be remembered for generations across the galaxy. It was the day when the endless cycle of hiding and hunting began to change, and at its center was humanity. The species too stubborn to accept defeat, too innovative to be predicted, and too determined to let ancient fears define their future. The innovation. The captured Void Hunter ship hung in high Earth orbit like a dark star, its surface still rippling with stolen technologies. After the massive battle that had driven back the Hunter fleet, this damaged vessel had become humanity's most valuable prize. Now, 1 month later, the combined scientific minds of Earth and their alien allies were about to attempt something unprecedented. Dr. Walker stood before the assembled team in the Odyssey's newly expanded research bay. Holographic displays showed real-time data from the captured ship, while representatives from a dozen alien species watched with mixture of anticipation and concern. "The Hunter vessel's outer layer isn't just armor," Walker explained, manipulating the hologram to zoom in on the ship's mysterious surface. "It's a quantum computer of unprecedented complexity. Every piece of technology they've ever absorbed is encoded in its structure." Sarah watched from the back of the room, noting the subtle reactions from their alien allies. The Auroran's energy forms flickered with interest, while the crystalline Satani seemed to dim slightly, a sign of concern she'd learned to recognize. "What you're proposing is dangerous," Tareth stated, their voice resonating with worry. No one has ever attempted to interface directly with hunter technology. The risks are necessary. Sarah cut in, stepping forward. We've proven we can fight them, but to win this war, we need to understand them. And thanks to our allies, we might have found a way. The research team had spent weeks combining technologies from multiple species: Auroran energy manipulation, Setani crystalline computing, Meridian phase shift technology, and humanity's chaos-based quantum systems had been integrated into something entirely new. We call it the quantum bridge, Dr. Walker continued, bringing up schematics of their creation. It will allow us to safely access the hunter ship's data core without risking contamination. But the key is human consciousness. This was the controversial part. Research had shown that human brains processed quantum information differently than any other known species. The chaos factor that made human quantum technology unique seemed to be reflected in human consciousness itself. Commander Chen has volunteered to be our first bridge operator, Walker announced, causing a stir among the alien representatives. Cliff, the Auroran ambassador, surged forward in their containment suit. This is unprecedented. To link a human mind directly to hunter technology, the potential for corruption is exactly why it has to be me. Sarah interrupted. The hunters adapt to patterns, to predictability. Human consciousness, especially under stress, is anything but predictable. That's our advantage. The procedure was set up despite the concerns. Sarah lay in a specially designed interface chamber, surrounded by crystalline processors and Auroran energy fields. Dr. Walker's voice came through her headset, steady and professional despite his obvious worry. Remember, Commander, at the first sign of mental contamination, we'll sever the connection. The safety protocols will work fine, Sarah finished. Let's do this, Doctor. The activation sequence began. Sarah felt her consciousness expanding, guided by the quantum bridge into the alien vessel's systems. The sensation was indescribable, like diving into an ocean made of pure information. What she found inside changed everything. The Void Hunters weren't simply predators. They were survivors, the last remnants of an ancient civilization that had faced extinction. Their original forms had been organic, not unlike humans, but faced with a cosmic disaster that threatened to wipe out all life in the galaxy, they had transformed themselves. They became living archives, preserving the knowledge and technology of every civilization they encountered. But somewhere along the way, they had lost something crucial: the ability to innovate, to create something truly new. They could only consume and replicate. My God, Sarah whispered, her voice carrying through the bridge interface. They're not hunting us because they want to destroy us. They're hunting us because they're desperate. They've been searching for a species capable of true innovation. The alien representatives watched in stunned silence as Sarah conveyed what she was discovering. The hunters' original mission had been preservation, but over millions of years it had become corrupted. They no longer remembered why they collected civilization's technology. They only knew they must. But human consciousness, interfacing directly with their systems, was having an unexpected effect. The chaos and creativity inherent in Sarah's thought patterns was causing the hunter ship's systems to respond in new ways. They're learning, she reported, amazement in her voice. Not just copying, actually learning. Our chaotic quantum patterns are teaching them how to innovate again. The implications were staggering. The Void Hunters weren't just an enemy to be defeated. They were a civilization that had lost its way, trapped in a cycle of consumption because they had forgotten how to create. Dr. Walker's voice cut through her revelations. Commander, we're detecting massive changes in the hunter ship's quantum structure. Whatever you're doing in there, it's spreading through their entire network. Sarah could feel it. Through the quantum connection, she sensed other hunter ships across the galaxy responding to the changes. The rigid patterns that had defined them for millions of years were beginning to shift, influenced by the chaotic creativity of human consciousness. This is what they've been searching for, she realized. Not just new technology to absorb, but a way to break free from their own patterns. They needed a species that could think differently enough to show them how to change. The connection began to overload as the changes cascaded through the Hunter network. Sarah felt herself being pulled back, the quantum bridge automatically disengaging to protect her mind. As her consciousness returned to her body, she knew they had just changed the course of the war, not through weapons or tactics, but through understanding. When she opened her eyes, she found the research bay in an uproar. The alien representatives were talking all at once, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony of excitement and concern. Dr. Walker helped her sit up, his face showing both worry and amazement. "Commander," he said, handing her a tablet displaying data from the Hunter ship. "You need to see this. The quantum patterns, they're completely different. The ship isn't just storing information anymore. It's creating new configurations on its own." Sarah looked at the assembled aliens, seeing the realization dawning in their various ways of expression. They hadn't just found a way to fight the Void Hunters, they had found a way to potentially save them. And in doing so, they had proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't just their technology or their determination. It was their ability to change the rules of the game entirely. The Ascension, the great fleet assembled near Jupiter, was unlike anything the solar system had ever seen. Ships from 24 alien species hung in formation alongside Earth's vessels, their diverse designs reflecting the unified response to the approaching Void Hunter armada. At the center of it all, the Odyssey maintained position, its quantum systems humming with newfound power. Sarah Chen stood on her bridge, watching the tactical display as the final pieces fell into place. The knowledge they had gained from the captured Hunter ship had changed everything, but implementing their plan would be the greatest challenge humanity had ever faced. "Hunter fleet dropping out of FTL," Lieutenant Patil announced, her voice steady despite the tension. "Reading over 300 vessels, all capital class." The dark ships emerged from hyperspace like a tide of living shadow, their surfaces writhing with stolen technologies. But this time, Sarah saw them differently. Not as mindless predators, but as lost beings trapped in an eternal cycle of consumption. "All ships, maintain formation," she ordered across the fleet-wide channel. "Remember, we're not here to destroy them. We're here to wake them up." Dr. Walker's voice came from the science station, where he monitored the modified quantum bridge. "The network is ready, Commander. All Allied ships report their quantum resonators are synchronized." What they were attempting had never been done before. Instead of fighting the Hunters conventionally, they would attempt to reach them all at once, using the same chaos-based quantum patterns that had affected the captured ship. Every Allied vessel had been equipped with technology that would amplify and transmit human thought patterns through the quantum network. "The Hunters are launching their first wave," Torres reported. "Energy signatures indicate they're preparing to fire." Sarah took a deep breath. "All ships, activate quantum resonators. Begin transmission." The effect was immediate and stunning. As the Hunter vessels prepared to attack, waves of chaotic quantum energy washed over them. But unlike conventional weapons, these carried something more. The essence of human consciousness, amplified and broadcast by the combined technology of a dozen species. Through the quantum network, Sarah felt the Hunter ships responding. Their rigid patterns began to fluctuate, centuries of accumulated knowledge starting to reorganize itself under the influence of human creativity and chaos. "Multiple quantum signatures detected within the Hunter fleet," Patil called out. "They're changing." The massive Hunter vessels had stopped their advance. Their surfaces, usually rippling with stolen technologies, began to pulse with new patterns, patterns that hadn't been copied from other civilizations, but were being generated spontaneously. "It's working," Dr. Walker breathed, watching his readings. "The quantum chaos is spreading through their network. They're beginning to innovate on their own." But the process wasn't smooth. Some Hunter ships seemed to resist the change, their ancient programming fighting against the new patterns. Several vessels turned their weapons on their own fleet, attempting to stop the transformation. Defensive positions, Sarah ordered as energy beams lanced between hunter ships. Protect the ships that are changing. The Allied fleet moved with precision, using their combined technologies to shield the transforming hunter vessels. Aura and energy fields deflected attacks while meridian phase shifters helped vulnerable ships dodge the worst of the battle. Through it all, the quantum network continued its work. More and more hunter ships began to show signs of change, their surfaces shifting from threatening darkness to something new. Patterns of light and energy that reflected genuine creation rather than mere replication. Then, something unexpected happened. One of the largest hunter ships, its surface now gleaming with original patterns, began broadcasting on all frequencies. The message wasn't in any known language, but rather in pure quantum states that translated directly into understanding. We remembered, the message said. We remember what we were before, what we were meant to be. More ships joined the broadcast, their quantum signatures harmonizing into something beautiful and terrible. The awakening consciousness of an ancient species remembering its original purpose. They're not just changing, Sareth observed, their crystalline form brightening with wonder. They're being reborn. The battle had become a transformation. Ships that had once been dedicated to consumption and destruction were now generating new technologies, combining their vast stored knowledge with the spark of innovation that humanity had helped them rediscover. But they weren't simply reverting to their original forms. Instead, they were becoming something new, a synthesis of their ancient wisdom and the creative chaos that humans had introduced to their systems. The final phase of the transformation swept through the hunter fleet like a wave of light. Ships that had been dark for millions of years blazed with new energy, their surfaces displaying technologies that had never existed before. When it was over, the hunter fleet hung in space, transformed. Their ships no longer rippled with stolen technology, but shimmered with innovations born from the combination of ancient knowledge and newfound creativity. A new message spread across the quantum network, this time in clear, understandable language. We offer peace, and more than peace, we offer partnership. The knowledge of ages combined with the spark of innovation. Together, we can achieve what neither of us could alone. Sarah looked around her bridge, seeing the amazement on her crew's faces reflected in the various forms of their alien allies. Humanity had achieved something unprecedented, not just surviving first contact with a hostile force, but helping to transform that force into something new and potentially wonderful. "Commander," Torres said, his voice filled with emotion, "we're receiving messages from across the galaxy. Other hunter fleets. They're all changing. The transformation is spreading through their entire network." Sarah smiled, feeling the weight of the past months finally lifting. "Send word to Earth, Lieutenant. Tell them the war is over, and something remarkable is beginning." The next few hours were filled with historic moments as the transformed hunters began sharing their vast knowledge, now filtered through their reawakened ability to innovate. Their ships, once instruments of destruction, became centers of learning and creation. Representatives from every species gathered aboard the Odyssey to begin discussing the future. The galaxy was entering a new age, one where the combined knowledge of millions of years would be freely shared, guided by the creative chaos that humans had introduced to the equation. As Sarah watched the historic gathering from her command chair, she reflected on how far they'd come. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged not just surviving, but helping to transform the very force that had threatened them. They had proven that their greatest strength wasn't just their technology or their determination. It was their ability to change the very nature of the game, to find solutions where others saw only problems. The stars outside the viewport seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the new age that was dawning. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, not through conquest or submission, but by doing what they did best, facing the impossible and finding a way to make it possible. The journey beyond the stars had led them not to war, but to transformation. And in the end, that was the most human outcome of all.